Yeah, if you have dotted notes, like dotted quarter. I was going to say if you have long note values, it's hard to retardando because how can you tell there's between a dotted quarter and a half? Why not just write a half? This is a little bit different.
This service class.
This is stuff that could also confuse this.
I don't want my monster to kick in every week from the fucking bathroom after class.
I just have
You got the piano going da 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 as the singer goes da.
old age.
So
Yeah, small class.
it could confuse. So you hear the last two notes. The singer's going la la, but the piano's going. So then together it goes la la. So right there I'm going la. License to go down. You hear the clash. So that probably would confuse the thing, because it's right there. Maybe if you had it in a different range. The piano writing was very nice, especially that introduction. But the idea of using the intervals and spelling out the chord, yeah, it worked really well. Introduction in hers. Forgot to put whether the singer, what volume the singer was supposed to go. Here, didn't take off for this. I'm pointing out that you have the bass go from an F sharp to a C, which is a tritone lead. So to your eye, you're seeing a really nice arpeggio in the bass, bum, bum, bum. But there's one interval that's a tritone, and that might. You can listen to it and see whether you like it. And then I circle this. Why is that so immediate there? It clashes with what the singer's singing. And it doesn't seem to be a part of the cadence. You cadence with a nice half cadence, then all of a sudden it goes to a immediate, and I wasn't sure why. You also have a weak 6/4. So where I write weak 6/4, listen carefully to that. A couple of things I noticed. I know I wanted you to be chromatic, and you were, but here's something I noticed. Some people would be chromatic, like have a secondary of something, or a common tone diminished of something. But then when they went to where it was supposed to resolve, they once again were chromatic. For example, a common tone diminished going to a chord, and then that chord would be change of mode. So, in other words, it's possible that, see, when you're chromatic, you're pulling the ear over like this. But there are two parts of that. When you introduce the chromatic tone, the listener is, are we still in the Yidzi? And then they're following where it goes. But then if you take it someplace and you immediately become chromatic again, you may have lost the effect. A secondary dominant, you're hearing it pull toward, but then when that next chord, I don't know, is also chromatic, it's like, well, then you don't really get the secondary dominant effect. You get the secondary dominant chord, but not the effect of it pulling somewhere. Does that make sense? So I was actually not very bothered by this because a lot of this assignment is you listening to this CD and going, I liked what I did here, I didn't like what I did here. I disagreed with him, he says this was weak but I like it. Or boy, he's really smart because he could see that that was wrong. You know, you're going through that process. So the fact that I saw people using a lot of chromaticism, I considered that a good thing. And just kind of a learning experience that now that we've already heard it, I'm going, well, maybe there was a little too much all in a row there.
So Dr. Matthews, what you're saying is that it would have been better if she'd gone sort of back home, so the people said, yes, they did move away, and now they're
Yeah.
back, and then
So
you
in
move
other words,
away
let's
again.
say you have a 5 of 5, then you go to 5. But, all right, you set up the 5 of 5, and then the chord that you could harmonize with the 5 has this note, so they go, well, I'll put a common tone diminished there. So you never actually get your original chromaticism to go where it was wanted to go. There was something else introduced. And a few people did this. Didn't bother me very much because I could see what you were after. You were saying, I want to try to use chromatic chords. But I don't know, we're at the point now where, why are we using it? Is it just because there's a note there and I can use that chord? Well, that note is supposed to be, or word is supposed to be important, and I'm trying to pull away from something. So I guess the chromaticism has two parts, the chord and then where it pulls to. And you can do deceptive movement. I mean, you can have a 5 of 5 that doesn't go to a 5. But I forget which one, but I think I saw like 3 chromatic chords in a row, and none of them actually went where they were supposed to go. But they were each valid in themselves. Like a Neapolitan 6, but that should go to a 5. And then it didn't go to a 5, it went to some other chromatic, which was supposed to go someplace, and it also didn't go where it was supposed to. So I like they spelled everything right. It just, when you had them all in a row, you couldn't really sit back and enjoy the effect. Somebody had a question?
Can you do a secondary dominant 5 of 5, common tone diminished, then go to the dominant?
Okay,
5 of 5,
and then go to the common tone diminished of the dominant?
Yes. Then to 5.
But it would work.
5 of 5, common tone diminished of 5, then
So
to the dominant.
basically, you're thinking like this, and then that's going to go to 5, but you're saying, could you insert the common tone diminished that pulls the 5 there? And actually, just even just plain like that.
Not the 5.
Yes.
Not the 5.
Well, no, we have 2 different common tone diminished. One that goes to tonic, one that goes to dominant. So, of 5.
Well,
We don't really say it that way, but you're right. It's the one that pulls toward the dominant.
Right. Not the secondary.
No. Good introduction, so. That chord. Bad 6/4 there. There's a half cadence, and there's a 6 parallel 5th. That's how the 6/4 inversion works. I think the Neapolitan 6 looks okay and it would sound better, but you followed it by a 6/4 inversion that is not a good 6/4 inversion. So,
Did you have any 4 going to, it sounded sort of hymny.
Hymnal?
Hymnal.
4s to
There's
what?
something to do words.
Well, it's Chinese. Hymny.
You're talking about a plagal cadence or a 4
Yes.
to 5?
No?